So part one of season two of Wednesday really left me kind of scratching my head because it seemed to me like they were just going back to the first season, and they were, instead of it being a whole new thing, a whole new mystery, whole new problem, they were just revisiting the first season and recycling. Or at least that's how the first part ended. But part two, thankfully, expanded on it. It wasn't just the same issue and the same mystery. It was a whole lot more than that. It was a lot more than just Wednesday versus a Hyde. There's a character who was revealed at the end of part one who I thought was going to be this long-lost sister of Morticia, Ophelia. Turns out, completely different. She is completely different, and it's a little surprising of who it actually is and what her, I guess, power is. What makes her an outcast. And the thing about the zombie that Pugsley resurrects and like uses as a pet, there is more to him than meets the eye. It's not just a zombie that's on the loose and eating brains. There's a lot more to that, and it ties into that character that escapes at the end of part one. It ties into Tyler and him being a Hyde. It ties into the overall mystery, and it ties into the Addams family. This, I feel like, is the issue Netflix is having by splitting the seasons up. Now, by going just episode to episode, week to week, we're not waiting that long. We see everything unfold in a decent amount of time. But having 4 episodes and then almost a month break, and then the other 4 episodes, you're leaving fans not necessarily with a cliffhanger, but just scratching their heads saying, what are you doing? They've been doing this with their big shows, splitting it into different parts. Now, if they just did it like every other show, like they used to, just drop every episode at once, everything just ties together right away, and it doesn't leave us just being like, what? So where I was overall disappointed with part one, even though I believe I did give it a B, it was still a major step down from season one as a whole. Part two, very, very good, because it ties it all together. It makes the first season make sense, or first part make sense. There's also a pretty big reveal having to do with Thing, and that ties into the current mystery, the overall mystery, and the issue that Wednesday is trying to solve and the people she is trying to save. There is a huge reveal with Enid and her being a werewolf, and even that ties into the overall story, or at the very least, Wednesday's emotional state, even though Wednesday, 9 times out of 10, shows no emotion because she's Wednesday Addams, but it ties into her as a character as well. And there is actually an episode where Wednesday and Enid switch bodies, and seeing Emma Myers get to be like stoic and cold like Jenna Ortega, and to see Jenna Ortega be all bubbly and happy and crazy like Enid, Emma Myers' character, it was actually really fun episode. It was a nice little change of pace for both characters. Lady Gaga shows up for a random episode, literally one episode, which is a little disappointing. But she is good in it. Billie Piper has an overall role in both parts. There's also a reveal with her. So it's like there's a lot more mystery to be had in Wednesday. And it takes what they did in part one and it amplifies it. And it makes it even better. Thankfully, because, like I said, I was disappointed with part one. Part two kind of restores my faith in the series. And the way part two ended, it's going to take it out of Nevermore Academy for season 3. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil anything big, but there are some big reveals of what Wednesday is going to be doing. There are some big reveals with Grandmama, and it gets me kind of pumped for season 3, even though it's probably going to take forever because Jenna Ortega is like one of the busiest fucking people in Hollywood. If I had any issue with part 2, is that the whole thing with Steve Buscemi's character, his principal, and the reveal of a cult just kind of out of nowhere. I feel like it's wrapped up too quickly and too cleanly. But really, that's about it. Because other than that, everything else is, for part 2, I think lands very well. Plus, Jenna Ortega, still perfect casting. Catherine Zeta-Jones, as Morticia. Fred Armisen as Uncle Fester, fantastic. Everybody in their roles are just perfect casting in general. And part 2, again, saves part 1. I'm going to give Wednesday Season 2, Part 2, a solid A, which averaged with the B from Part 1. I'm going to give it a high B+, almost A-. Thanks for watching this episode of Fatman Inc. Horror. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and to see more horror reviews as Fatman Inc. Horror begins to take shape. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.